rim trail from Inspiration Point to Sunset Point that those of you who with adequate shoes and energy can embark upon. It takes no more than 15-20 minutes at the most. There are a couple of ups and downs, and there's no guardrail against the canyon, but it's very easy to stay well away from it, so you're not feeling like you're on a precipice. You will want to have a walking companion with you because there are a couple of places where it's slightly steep, and because it's a bit gravelly, the traction can be a bit more of a challenge. So if you have any doubts about doing that, don't do it. All right, just be very clear. You're still going to get views at all the stop-off points that we have. It's this particular option for a walk is really for those of you who want to get a little stretch of the legs and get away from sort of the busy points, if you will. When you finish your walk, you'll be here at Sunset Point. Oop. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a loop and there's a little bus. So we on the coach will have driven from Inspiration Point to Sunset Point. So that's going to be our rendezvous point where we get back together. There are restroom facilities just on one side of this loop, and if time allows, you may continue, any of you who would like, your walk around Sunset Point as far as Sunrise Point and then back again, because this will be our rendezvous point. We do not have time for anyone to really embark on the Navajo Loop Trail, which descends down into the amphitheater. But you'll watch people doing it, and some people do walk down the first 100 yards or so, but it's pretty steep, so it's not something to be started lightly. Then, if we have an opportunity, we'll see if we have time to stop at the visitor center on our way out. Real quickly, passport stamps, restroom stop if need be after all the other restroom stops, and then we'll be out of the park and stop at a place called Ruby's, which we will pass here in a few minutes for lunch. They have a really wonderful salad bar. If you want to have lunch and only salad, that's great. Also, you can order off the menu and includes a small salad. That's probably the best place in terms of service speed. There's a grocery store though in that same complex. So if you don't want to bother with a restaurant type meal, then you can pick up provisions. They have picnic benches on one side that face south, so they tend to get more sun, keep it a little bit warmer. Does that sound all right? And if anybody needs a snack, at some point I'll have them ready here up at the front seat. So when you come back up from one of the scenic stops, feel free to avail yourself of one per person and see how much my supply lasts. Okay. Now, I just put this up really more for info, but just again, more detail. Here's Inspiration Point. So you make your choice. Come back to the coach or do this 0.7 mile trail to this general area of Sunset Point, which is the trailhead for the Navajo Loop. But again, here's that transit circle with a bus stop will be here and restrooms. And then if you continue, if the time allows, and I'm going to give you a time frame as to when to be back on the coach, those of you who have that extra energy, and you can continue walking to Sunrise Point just as you wish. All right. So sunrise to sunset is half a mile, 0.8K. So right here after this intersection is where we'll come back for lunch at Ruby's Restaurant. But we're gonna go ahead straight through. I don't know if you've seen it before, but down to our right, you see the sign for Dixie National Forest, U.S. Department of Agriculture. So is it a little bit of a surprise to see the word Dixie up here? Yeah. There's an explanation for it, and let me see if I can fill you in real quickly. So let's go back to the Mormons in Salt Lake City and Brigham Young. Brigham Young was really powerful. Literally, at community gatherings, he could say, all right, Zelma and Jeff, Kurt and Regine, and Rolf and Kathy, I want you two in 1 week to pack up all your belongings and head south. You're going to establish a trading post 100 miles from here. I know there's a water source there, so you take all of your stuff, and when things start to settle in, we're going to send more pioneers with you, and you're going to start planting and growing cotton. All right? So that's what happened. Not for you, Six, but they established a community. Here's the sign for Bryce Canyon National Park. We're going to do a quick drive-by. So since it was, they sent people to St. George, Utah, which was south of Salt Lake City, and with the idea of planting cotton. So I have to tell you, some of these pioneers had slaves. So they actually had they had some degree of affinity with the Confederacy. And so they named that southern part of the Mormon territory Dixie, reflecting Dixie being the south on the east coast. And the name has stuck. So there was just recently, Dixie State University in St. George was changed to, I believe, Southern Utah University by name, but the National Forest retains its name. What are you seeing off here to the right in the forest are these wood piles. So this forest is managed in a way that debris is collected, burned during the winter, usually, so I'm surprised there's still some now. But to decrease the risk of forest fire during the summer with thunderstorms and lightning. Wildlife that are possibly seen here, mule deer. I don't think I've ever seen elk in any numbers here. Sometimes we do drive by a prairie dog town, but I'm not sure we'll see any evidence of the little critters today, but perhaps.